सर उसमें
So you
पीआई
tried
गिवन
out
नहीं है सर।
that, huh?
क्वेश्चन में पीआई गिवन नहीं है, इंटरनल प्रेशर कितना लेना है। ज्यूम कर लेंगे कुछ।
प्रेशर नहीं दिया था। अच्छा, ठीक है, मैं देख लूंगा।
क्वेश्चन नंबर
होगा
3।
तो आई विल बी।
ओके सर।
ओके, एक में मैं दिया था एक्चुअली टू फाइंड दैट आउट। ठीक है, आई विल गिव ए इनिशियल वैल्यू।
पहले क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 वी हैव टू प्लॉट सर, टेंजेंशियल वर्सेस वो
या
रेडियल
you
का
need Excel.
डिस्टेंस पास।
Question number
हाँ,
3 as well as
वो तो
4,
ठीक है।
you cannot
Yes.
do by hand calculation. It's too big a calculation. Because you guys have already done it, तो just data change करना है। Okay.
Yes.
तो उतना ही है। I will try to create some more, or maybe another problem. Okay, so today we continue on a new topic. Is basically rock joints. I think you have probably seen the rock joints several times whenever you visit a mine, tunnel, or when passing by through highway. If you notice the side, if it is a mountain area, you will see the exposed rock, and all those rocks will have joints or some form of discontinuity. So this figure here, what it shows is this side is tunnel and this side is slope, and what it is showing is if this is a heavily jointed rock mass, so this white part here is basically the intact rock, which is free from any discontinuity, this one. Then maybe if you are taking a very small area here, this will have a single joint. Then as you are increasing the area, you will have two joints, then multiple joints in this entire area. And then if you are increasing more area, then this is basically heavily jointed rock. Now, so what we are saying is there are practically many joints, and these heavily joints are more or less same. So practically we divide into 4 parts. One is intact rock, another is a single joint, and two joints and multiple joints. Now, if this is the rock we encounter, rock mass we encounter in a tunneling condition or in a slope condition, then can we apply? Main question is, can we apply that stress-strain relationship which we have learned, like stress is related to strain with a matrix called D, constitutive matrix, whether this is valid? This is the main question. We know this is valid for this one, the intact rock, but whether it is valid for this also, whether it is valid for this or this, the answer obviously is no. It will be only valid for this one, and all other is not valid. So that D matrix, what we have created, the constitutive matrix, using a modulus of elasticity and Poisson ratio, this is only valid for isotropic and homogeneous material. Now, hello? Okay. The moment you have a joint and you are considering a bigger area, of course we have to consider, if this is our slope, then we have to consider the rock mass. Then that property of D is no longer valid. and this is highly anisotropic rock. We call it Diane, D-I-A-N-E, discontinuous, anisotropic, non-linear elastic. This is what we call it. It's called Diane, discontinuous, anisotropic, and non-linear elastic material. That is we consider. So under that condition, how we analyze this rock mass? Because we are making tunnel in a rock mass, not in an intact rock. There may be a single joint, there may be two joints, there may be multiple joints. There may be interactions, and there, of course, there will be an interaction between the joints also. So how to handle this kind of material in mining condition as well as in tunneling condition or in a slope condition? Anybody working with a material like earth will deal with something like this. Okay, so first and foremost thing, we have to now understand how do we characterize these discontinuities. Here we will be concentrating on only joints as a discontinuity. You can see the reality is something like this. You know, this is the rock mass. That is what we are talking about. You see, heavily jointed. This is the joint plane, and you see this has a multiple sets, as we said. Now imagine we are making a tunnel here, okay, or tunnel here. So is that tunnel will be safe, or how do we make it safe? No, that is the question. I can give you another example. See how it is jointed. This is how it is planar. Here, if you, I don't know how good the picture is coming to your computer, but they put some nets, and they are in some places they are bolted here so that it doesn't fall. So see, these are all planar joints, and they are now exposed. These are the exposed joints. So this is the reality, and we are excavating in a rock mass like this. Now, how do we go? Vivek, you have joined. Okay, good.
Good morning, sir.
You can switch off your video. Yeah, you can switch off your video. Just keep the microphone on. Okay. This way it will be better. So,
Okay, sir.
we are talking about joints, right? So first and foremost, we have to know what are its properties. What are the joint properties we have? Now, here I have written several properties. The strike, dip direction, dip. How many of you know this? What is strike, what is dip direction, and what is dip? All of you know these terminologies? What about Somita? Do you know this terminology?
Sir.
And dip?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you know. Good. So I think the most of you probably will know this. See, the strike is measured as a horizontal angle from the north. And let's say this is the joint surface. Joint, what we are considering here in a rock mechanics, a discontinuous plane, okay, which has either separated the blocks or may not be separated. Okay, they are in same place, so there may not be any slip. Okay, there may not be any slip. It may be zero. But we are talking about the properties of this surface. Now, when we are talking about these properties, we must first know its geometrical bearings, and that is given by these three. See, normally, if you want to put any plane in a 3D, you need x, y, z coordinates, right? Because a plane, equation of a plane is what? Ax plus by plus cz plus z plus b is equal to 0. So you need those variables. Now here we do not have those variables. What we have, three angles. One is strike, dip direction, and dip. So these basically replace x, y, and z. These three it is replacing. So the strike, we measure a angle from the north clockwise, and this is also called bearing in surveying. Then, if this is the strike, this joint can be inclined in this direction as well as in this direction. In both the direction it can be inclined. So you have to say which direction it is. So that we know it is deep, it is dipping at which direction. So angle between strike and dip direction is then 90 degrees. Either this direction, that is also a horizontal angle, or in this direction, that is also 90 degrees from the strike. And dip is the vertical angle between the dip direction and the vertical axis. Dip direction and the horizontal, and this plane. Okay, so this angle is dip. And if this is a slip, normally for a fault or this thing we have, then this is also can be measured from using an angle. And you know, we call it footwall and we call it hangwall. This you know already. Okay. Now, normally, joint doesn't come alone. Okay. So these are the three properties. Strike, dip direction is a geometrical property. Then their joint comes in a multiple ways. So this is a single joint set which has more or less same strike and more or less same dip angle. We normally say minus 10 degree to plus 10 degree. You know, between any difference between any strike direction between the two joints. If the strike is within minus 10 to plus 10 degree, then we will call they are coming from a single joint set, the same joint. Okay. So this will be, this blue color are basically one joint set, and these joint sets will have a spacing. There is a average spacing, that is called S. This is a spacing. Then joint can also have a length, how much it is. Okay. This may vary from few meter to multiple meter, maybe 50 meter, 100 meter also. There is something called also persistence. Persistence meaning, let's say this length is coming here, then there is nothing here. Then again it is starting. So that length is called the persistence length. That means whether it is continuous or not continuous in a given situation. So a persistence joint or a non-persistence joint. That means बीच में joint नहीं है. Okay. But again वो चालू हुआ. That is also a physical properties. So the spacing, length, and these things are the physical properties. I will tell you about the aperture and those things later. Then there comes some, the roughness can go here also, but I put it here just because roughness gives us the strength. Other than that, there are some properties called roughness. I will talk more about this later. Weathering, that means whether this surface has exposed to the weathering process, meaning the water and other air or other other form of activities, so that the surface is weathered, okay, or become weak. And then its strength property of the joint. Here the strength meaning mostly the shear strength. What is the shear strength property? And what is the shear deformational property? Now strength also can be a normal strength, the normal to this joint, and as well as deformation normal to the deformation. So we are mostly talking here about two types of strength. One we call fracture strength, another is shear strength, and mostly we are concerned about the shear strength. Okay. Is that clear? So these are the different properties which we are very much worried about. And this roughness, here also comes the joint condition, like whether it has the water is flowing through it, then what is the aperture size, then whether there is any infilling material in that joint. So all these things constitute the properties of the joint, okay, or any discontinuity for that matter. Now here is the type of roughness. So one is more or less smooth joint, another is very rough joint, then it is called matching joint. They are completely matched, so there will be hardly any gap here. And this one, you see, this is not matched. So you see there is a gap, there is a gap, there is a gap. So this is a mismatched joint, or we call it unmatching joint. And then in this unmatching places, these gap places, there may be some gauge material, or we call infilling. So what this infilling material will give us, this will add the cohesion, the cohesive property of that joint. So as you can understand, more the rough, the better the friction, correct? And if it is like a planar or a smooth, then this joint is not good for us, okay, because this may fail very easily. Now the question is, see, the drawing here is very simple. Now if you think this is almost 100-meter long, now how do we understand this roughness for a 100-meter long joint? Okay, so that is still not, not able to, nobody could found that out. How to estimate the roughness properties for a field joint? We can calculate that in the laboratory, but in the laboratory we are dealing with very small size, maximum of maybe 1 foot. That is what we have the capacity. Some people have done maximum up to 1 meter, to 3 feet. But if it is a 50 meter, now how do we understand? And that's why this is a very active area of research, because people are not able to understand if there is a slope not failing, why it is not failing. What could be the roughness property that joint has? So these all things are people are now doing, or they are trying to understand. So there are basically several groups. Some people are working in the lab, some people are in the field trying to understand joints in the field. Some are doing in the numerical side by checking different roughness property. How does the slope behave? Numerical sense. So these are all things are going on. Another thing, to put the joint into perspective, you see, as I am telling you, a joint is a 3D property, right? It's a 3D plane having roughness, which has a certain strike angle and dip direction and dip. But if I ask you, there are two joints, when they meet each other, they create a line, right? When two planes meet each other, those two planes will create a line. That intersection will be a line. Now, if I ask you, can you find out the equation of that line in 3D? So it will be an extremely difficult task to do. One can do it, but that's a very difficult proposition to do. And now you think there are maybe hundreds joints are, intersecting among each other. Now there are so many lines and so many joint surfaces are meeting each other. How do we basically understand that? In a 3D sense. And to understand it better, we have to somehow convert this into 3D. And some of you probably heard of a thing called stereo net. If you do not know, or you are hearing it for the first time, I will suggest you to, after this class, you go back to the Google and search stereo net projection. You will find a lot of material, and this figure I just got from the net. In our book also we have given in our that rock mechanics in the chapter 1, we have given the stereo net. If you have that book, you can also see. Now, let me give you a very brief description of this, what it is, and how do we represent a 3D surface into a 2D. Even, not only 2D, even for 1D, we can bring it to 1D also, without sacrificing any information. Any information rather, it's strike, dip, and dip direction. Okay. So let's assume this red dotted this thing is my joint plane. Okay. This is a sphere, and let's assume this joint, there is a joint plane keeping like this, and it has cut the sphere like this way. You understand what I'm saying? We assume this is a sphere like this, and there was a joint plane which was dipping in this direction, and it has cut the sphere like this. Now, this is the plane oriented roughly, you can see, if this is the north direction, then this is its strike, this is the strike direction, and this strike from north, more or less they say north 40 degree west, so this is the west, this is east, north 40 degree west here, and it is dipping 45 degree northeast. It is dipping 45 degree from the vertical, from the horizontal like this, and it is towards northeast. This is the dip direction, northeast. Okay? You understand? This is how we represent a joint in this stereo net, or even we represent a joint. Like we have to give it strike, north 40 degree west in this case, then we will give the dip, and then we will give its direction. Okay. This could have been northwest also. Then if it is given northwest, it would have dip in other direction. Okay, it just change the direction. Is that clear? Okay, now since it has cut here, what we can do, see, this is the sphere, it is like this. If we draw the or if we extend the line from here to this Nadir here, the topmost point of that sphere, and if we connect all the points from here, so from here I connect to the topmost point, from here I connect to this like this, then it is going to cut this horizontal plane here right in the middle at different location. You see this? And then on this horizontal plane, this become the circle and this become a arc. So this basically become the projection of this one into this horizontal plane. You understand? So this is called the great circle. Now what happens? You can see now this one is basically representing this, but it has become in 2D. Now if I ask you now, let's say the plane has the dip 0 degree, then where will be this circle, this great circle? Can you tell me? If the dip is 0 degree here, then where will be this arc? Can anybody tell me? Do you understand what I'm
Along
saying?
the east-west line.
Hello? So
Along the east-west line होगा ना?
basically this will be this arc, right? Because this one, if deep is 0 degree, this plane will be right here. You see this black? The plane will be right here. So this become its arc. You follow? Now here it is given, if this is the perfectly 90 degree dipping, then which one will be the arc? There is no arc, it's just this line. You follow what I'm saying? So if it is 0 degree, it is this arc. If it is 90 degree, it is this line. Well, this is the straight line. So because in this circle, you will see just a line, straight line. And if it is 0 degree, you will see this big arc here, and right on the boundary. Okay. So what we can see now, I know this strike. So strike line is here, it is given, this is the strike. So what will be the dip? Now dip will be measured from this boundary, either east or west boundary, and it will be measured from here. If this is the point, it is 0 degree, and if this is the point, it is 90 degree. So somewhere in between. Okay, this 45 degree will be somewhere in. So now I already know strike, I already know dip direction, and I know the dip also measured from either east or west. Since it is dipping towards northeast, it will be measured from east, the dip, and if it has been dipping from northwest, we would have measured from this side. Okay. So now a 3D surface, we have brought in the 2D circle. Now I show you this circle here. Now you can see this is that big circle become, let me go up. So this circle here, this big circle is that circle here. Now this is graduated with some angles. Okay, so some are from north to south, some are from east to west, as you will see. So these are the strike angles, which are basically from east to west. These are all strike angle for the measuring of the strike. And those are coming from either east to west, these are deep. Okay, as I told you just earlier. Here we are measuring strike from the north, and deep we are measuring either from east or west. So from east or west, from west or east, we are measuring dips. Here it is 90 degree, here it is 0 degree, and this is north 10 degree east, north 10 degree west, if this strike is like this. Now you can see there is an example here now. The strike was north 45 degree west, okay, and it is deep was about 50 degree. So what happened is there is a process how we draw this. That is what I want you to see in some there will be n number of video lectures are there. If you are interested, is a very interesting thing. Look into the stereo net projection, and this stereo net projection can do lot of things. Now you see here it is two circular given. That means these are two joint plane, and this point is its intersection line. So in stereo net projection, point will be a line and a arc will be a surface. Means we have reduced a degree. Yeah, you have any question? Go ahead. Okay, so what I suggest you, if you want to know more about this, you see there are a number of lectures, video lectures available. How to draw it, you will be able to get. And then there are a lot of softwares also available. It's called DIPS software. Then also we have DIPS. Other than that, there are some other software also available. Yeah. Okay. This is one thing we do to find out the deep strike and deep direction, and we put it into a scientific way. And this is a lot of applications. And although in this class these applications are not given, are not required, but in the geology or in our element of rock mechanics, we normally talk about this in great detail. Okay. Now the next thing we do to understand these joints, we go to the field. Okay, we go to field and then we do something called scanline survey. Okay, now this is a very important job to do. Now we are talking about the field condition, because rock mass doesn't exist in the lab. Rock mass exists in the field. So we have to go to field and get those data properly, because lot of your stability, whatever you will do, will depend on how good the survey you have done actually in the field. So you see, if this is the rock mass, what do? We put a scale here. First we connect a rope straight, and then from one side, like here it is given in here, from one side we start connecting how many joints it has cut. Okay, can anybody tell me what information we will get by doing this? We normally calculate a property by counting the number of joints per unit length. You know which property we calculate by using that?
Joint spacing.
Which one?
Joint spacing. Joint spacing.
I didn't hear.
Also, joint spacing.
हाँ, एक तो joint spacing हो गया, but joint spacing is this. Joint spacing will be this. By counting how many joints it has cut per unit length. जैसे ये 3 मीटर है, तो 3 मीटर में हमारा 15 तो आया,
RQD.
तो पर मीटर 5. Using this
RQD.
property, yes, RQD. We calculate the RQD. Okay. Using this, we calculate RQD. Or, you know, we can drill a borehole. See here, इधर लिखा है borehole or scan line. From borehole, we can get it. And again, by counting this, either the number of joint it has cut or by the length of this, we can estimate the RQD. Okay. So this is the first and foremost thing to find out the RQD as well as joint spacing, what you have said. These two. Third property. Because we are now very close to the joint, so we are looking at whether there is any infilling material. Like here, whether there is any infilling material, so we are checking it. If there is some infilling material, we will try to get that filling material, and we also test this thing, its weathering property using, you have already done. Which experiment you have done to find out the weathering? कोई एक्सपेरिमेंट क्या वेदरिंग का लिए? ड्यूरेबिलिटी टेस्ट. तो दिस फिलिंग मटेरियल वी ब्रिंग, लेके आने का बाद हम लोग पहले ही इसका वेदरिंग प्रॉपर्टी निकालते हैं. दिस इज नंबर 1. Number 2, if we have enough material, then we also find out its shear property. इसका shear strength कितना है? ये infilling material का shear strength कितना है? To find out basically its cohesion. Okay. So this is number 3. So first we are finding out RQD. Second we are finding out joint spacing. Third we are finding out the property of the infilling. Fourth, we are seeing whether joint is matching or not matching. That means whether joints are open or closed completely. Okay, so this is the property. You can see here, maybe this is more or less closed, but there are some joints are open. Okay, so whether joints are open or closed, this is what we find that out. And fifth property is, what could be this aperture if it is open? Means we like to find out how much is this to this distance, and that's why we take our, even the vernier scale, we carry tape, we carry a hammer, we carry many things. Okay. Then here it is given, we find out the dip direction and the strike direction of all these joints. Okay, strike and dip direction. And that is done by a thing called clinometer. Okay, using this, we find out the dip direction, dip, and the strike. As just so all this property, we need to find that out. And we have to go to the field to find it. And you may ask कि सर जब कोई नया माइन चालू हो रहा है, ये तो ऐसा एक्सपोज नहीं रहेगा, तो how do we find out? So the point is very valid. That time we normally believe in this borehole and the rock core what we receive. Mostly we start with that, and then when the mine get exposed, we open some area, and then we need to do this study to find out that what are these, all these properties we have to find out from the field. Okay, ये laboratory में बैठ के नहीं होगा. Okay, because this is the rock mass, we have to go to. Now clear है? Before I move on into the strength properties, so you can see how many properties we have already found out. All the physical properties, geometrical properties, we will be finding out. Physical means length. जिसको जो नहीं मिलेगा वो है persistence. Persistence मतलब ये जो joint है ये अंदर कितना दूर तक गया है. That is almost impossible to find out. So that we sometimes guess it is all the way connected. Something like that. Other than that, we are finding out most of the property. Okay. Now, once we have this, and let's say we have a borehole core, and let me give you this area where we have a joint. So this core, then we put it into a triaxial testing. Have you done triaxial? It is completed or triaxial दिखाया गया है तुम लोग को?
इधर नहीं सर.
Yet? Not yet, right?
हाँ सर.
You have seen uniaxial. Uniaxial हो गया ना?
हाँ हो गया सर. UCS हो गया.
Uniaxial हो गया, triaxial नहीं होगा. So it's just like uniaxial, but we have a confinement from all the other two directions. Okay. So we have what we call sigma 2 is equals to sigma 3. So the other two direction we have sigma 3, and we are giving sigma 1. Now in the normal triaxial or intact rock, there will be no joint. Okay. Now here we have a joint. We are testing it with the joint, okay, or with the discontinuity. Now this discontinuity can be in this direction or in this direction also. So either beta can be positive or beta can be negative. So clockwise we are considering negative, and anti-clockwise we are considering positive. Okay. So now we are confining it. We are confining this sample, and then we are giving the failure load from the top. Now what do we expect? We actually expect this sample to fail along this joint line. This is we are hoping for, that this joint will slip. If it happens, then we are testing the properties of this surface. Basically frictional property of this surface we are testing. This is our aim, mind that. We are testing the frictional property of this surface under the given confinement or in situ stress condition, and considering a failure load which may come in the form of sigma 1. Okay, is that clear? What is our aim of testing this jointed sample? Now, we already know from Mohr circle that sigma n is this. I already told you. Now here the angle is known already. It is beta. Okay. So this is our sigma n and our tau. This can be depending on what is, because tau we are considering positive. So depending on what is the value of beta. If beta is 0 to 90, this will be positive. Then we will take this is negative, so that this one will be a positive value. Because this sigma 1 is in compression, so this value will be negative and this value will be positive. That's why this is a negative sign here. And if it is minus 90 to this will be already a negative, and this is a negative. This. Okay, is that clear? So this is basically, you can just do with one and rest is इसको करने का जरूरत नहीं है, और बाद में just angle change कर देने से होगा. But it just shown to you like this. So this is my sigma n and tau, and then we are putting into this formula, and then when you put it into this formula, then this one will come, sigma 1 is in this form, and for this one, and sigma 2 is for two different cases. You can derive it. What I suggest you today, you can take these values and put it into this equation and you just derive. Okay. Now let us see what happened to this formula. You understand what I have done? This sigma n and tau has been put here, and then we have written what is sigma 1 equals to 1. So it comes like this. Now here you can see phi j and Cj, subscript j is the property of joint. Phi j and Cj are the property of joint, friction angle and cohesion. Mind that there is a phi r and there is a cr, that is of the rock, and this is of the joint. So until today, we discuss about phi r and cr, which is the property of the rock, the friction angle and the cohesion. Friction angle and the cohesion. Now here we are talking about property of this joint surface. That's why subscript j is given. This is not the rock property. Do not get that mistake. Okay. So if this is the equation, what do you see? Oh, sorry. If beta is equals to 0, what happened to this formula? What happened to sigma 1? It shows infinite, right? Extremely high value. See, if beta is equals to 0, that means this is like a horizontal plane. Then sigma 1 is extremely high. Meaning, what it's telling us that basically this joint is not affecting anymore. Okay, you got that point? See the property. If beta is equals to 0, what is the value of sigma 1? It is infinite. Now, if beta is equals to phi j, if beta is equals to phi j, then what happened to this again? If this one will become cot phi j. Cot phi j into tan phi j is 1. So 1 minus 1, again it becomes infinite. So what it meaning is that if the beta is between 0 and phi j, basically joint is not affecting it. It's not the strength. Sigma 1 is not affected by the joint. The joint will affect its strength, the strength of this sample, when beta is more than 5. And you can see this theoretical graph here, how it looks like. Now, you do not see the beta negative angle. Just see the beta positive angle first. To understand this equation, what it is. See, this is been plotted considering phi j is 30 degree, sigma 3 is minus 2 MPa, and Cj is 2 MPa. Okay. Using this formula, we have plotted it. Now you see what happens here. When this beta value is from 0 to 30 degree, you can see this is a extremely high value. Means theoretically it is going towards infinity, but I have kept it here. I have kept it here considering this is the strength of the rock. So what it is telling us that the fracture strength of the rock is up to 0 to 30 degree. It's controlled by the property of the rock material. That means phi r and Cr. After that, you see how the joint takes its strength. It drastically drops and comes almost about 20 MPa. You know, sigma 1 minus sigma 3 here. So even less than 20 MPa, it is about 10 MPa coming here. So you see the drastic fall. Okay, when beta comes to about 60 degree in this case, and then again it is trying to increase. That means what is happening, you see, if beta is equals to 0 degree, value is very high. Now this joint pattern is gradually going up, beta is increasing. Up to 30 degree, it is completely controlled by the property of the rock. When it exceeds 30 degree, then this joint place and immediately the strength falls because the joint starts to slip. And then there is a minimum value here. And then again, when I am increasing more than 60 degree, this is again increasing the strength. Why? Because this is now going towards 90 degree. And when it is coming towards 90 degree, joint is like here, like this. So it has become basically almost splitted. So it is acting as a two separate intact rock. So again it comes down to like an intact rock. So this is how it looks like. Even if the joint is like this, it will do the same in other side. Joint is in like that. So what we are essentially saying is, this part of the curve is completely controlled by the property of the joint, and this part is completely controlled by the property of the rock. Now, question number 1. Can anybody tell me what is this angle beta? What is this angle beta? Because I told you 3 angle, right? Strike, dip direction, dip. Now what is this angle beta? Anybody? What is this angle? Anand? anand चला गया क्या? Hello?
Sir.
You are here?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
What is this angle beta? This angle is what?
This is the failure angle, right?
Huh? No, this angle is already pre-existing. This is the joint. This angle is the deep angle. Tip of that joint. You see, this is with the horizontal. So this angle is basically deep angle. That means with deep angle, the property or the strength property varies. That's a very interesting information for us. There's deep angle, तुम देख रहे हो इधर, more or less 60 degree हो जाएगा. So it's very dangerous. Now you remember when you have found out RMR, do you remember there is a favorable angle and a unfavorable angle? We reduce the RMR value. Have you done that? Have you studied RMR? इसमें ये
Yes,
था
sir.
ना टनल एक्सिस का साथ फेवरेबल एंगल एंड अनफेवरेबल एंगल. Now you can see why they have done it. The strength property drastically reduces from about, let's say, even if I consider somewhere here, let's say 80 MPa से 10 MPa हो जा रहा है, just because changing of the deep angle. Now I can show you some testing results. You see, this is the testing result. You can see how this beta angle changes with the angle of beta, the strength changes, the strength property. Two different, this is I got from the published paper. So you can see we have also tested in our laboratory and we have found more or less same. We have found some sample where like cemented sample, it's more or less 60 degree में minimum आता है. Okay, you can see the property. It is more or less same. So this is our strength property, strength of the rock. And this is with the jointed sample. You see, almost 550 से 200 का आसपास आ जा रहा है. कितना % ड्रॉप होता है because of this deep angle? Okay. So this is a very important information we can gather from that simple, formula. It's a very simple formula. Using Mohr-Coulomb, we can get this information. How does the deep angle changes the strength property of that rock mass? Okay. So आज इतना तक ही हम रखते हैं. So you guys have to also eat. So tomorrow again we will come and at 10 o'clock.
Okay, sir.
Okay.